In 2039, Shuu Ouma is a socially awkward student living in Japan, where it is under the strict rule of the government organization named GHQ following the outbreak of the apocalypse virus 10 years earlier. While going to his warehouse studio, he encounters Inori Yuzuriha, an internet singer of the band Egoist, who is recovering from her wounds after stealing the Void Genom, a genetic weapon stored in a vial, from GHQ, keeping it safe inside her pet robot Funeral. Inori is then captured by the GHQ Antibodies division led by Major Gin. To make amends upon her request, Shuu brings the Void Genom to Inori's boss, Gai Tsutsugami, leader of the resistance group called Funeral Parlor, Undertakers. However, Gin orders the antibodies to exterminate the residents of Roppongi in order to find the Void Genom. As Funeral Parlor and GHQ battle, Shuu goes to rescue Inori, protecting her when a GHQ humanoid war machine known as an Endlove tries to attack them. The attack shatters the vial holding the Void Genom, giving Shuu the power of the king, which he uses to extract Inori's void in the form of a sword in order to destroy the Endlove. When GHQ Second Lieutenant Daryl Yan, operating the Endlove Steiner, arrives and intervenes, Shuu is forced to retreat with Inori and regroup with Funeral Parlor. After commending hacker Tsugumi and paraplegic Endlove pilot Shinomiya for their hard work, Gai not only lectures Inori for allowing Shuu to absorb the Void Genom since the former had intended to use it, but he also states that Shuu can no longer stand idly by with the power the latter now possesses. Later, Funeral Parlor proceeds to stop Gin, who took a group of innocent civilians hostage to have Daryl and the antibodies execute them. Funeral Parlor launches an attack and tricks Daryl to drive his Endlove Steiner away from Gin's command center to hijack it. Gai then reveals himself and has a standoff with Gin, in which Shuu heads toward Daryl, cutting through his cockpit and extracts his void, a weapon that produces myriad of barriers. As the standoff reaches its climax, Gin orders his men to fire at Gai, however Shuu uses Daryl's void to shield Gai and deflect the lasers fired, annihilating Gin and the antibodies. In the aftermath, despite witnessing the atrocities GHQ are responsible for and what Funeral Parlor stands for, Shuu declines Gai's offer to join them. The next day, Shuu is surprised to learn that Inori has transferred into his school. Shuu is still shocked that not only has Inori transferred to his school, but is living at his home as well. Meanwhile, GHQ Antibodies Director Shichiro Kido tasks GHQ Major Makoto Waltz Segai to track a series of hotspots where a genetic drug called the Norma gene is being distributed. After Shuu learns that Inori was sent to protect him, the two meet up with Gai, who reveals that a student at Shuu's school, who is secretly a drug dealer for the Norma gene nicknamed Sugar, saw him during the Roppongi incident. After Gai confirms that he can see other people's voids, Inori then teaches the basic principles of drawing out voids to Shuu, who confronts his classmates one by one, checking for a void in the form of a pair of shears held by Sugar. After several failures, Shuu soon figures out Sugar is actually his friend Yujiro Samyakawa, since his calm demeanor does not match his tastes in movies, thereby exposing his identity. Shuu subdues an angry Yujiro by extracting his void, but stops Inori from killing Yujiro. When Yujiro awakens, he and Shuu both resolve to keep each other's secrets. However, Yujiro turns on Shuu the next day by selling him out to GHQ, and Shuu is then approached by Segai. Shuu is apprehended by Segai in front of his classmates and is taken to GHQ Isolation Facility 4, where he remains silent about Funeral Parlor. As Segai is taking Shuu to the isolation ward, he reveals that Yuhiro's younger brother is receiving treatment at the facility due to being a victim of the apocalypse virus, for this is the reason for why Yujiro ratted Shuu out. However, Segai dismays Shuu when mentioning that Gai plans to rescue a mass murderer named Kenji Kido, giving Shuu a transmitter in the shape of a pen to use when he comes in contact with Gai. Later that night, Gai, disguised as a lawyer, visits Shuu to involve him in rescuing Kenji, but Shuu rejects assistance. As the facility's alarm suddenly goes off, Tsugumi informs the two that Inori has broken into the facility and plans to rescue Shuu herself, ignoring orders. Gai is forced to change his group's plan of action against the GHQ Endloves when Shuu goes to save her. On the way there, after Ace protects him from harm, Shuu encounters Kenji, extracting and using his void in the form of a gravity manipulation device to stop the GHQ Endloves and rescue Inori. Following the facility's destruction, Shuu once again is offered to join Gai and reluctantly accepts, however he keeps Segai's transmitter and does not inform Gai of their exchange. Shuu is brought to Funeral Parlor headquarters at Roppongi Fort, where Gai plans to hold a trial for Shuu before he can officially join this resistant group. While preparing to lead a mission to take over the leukocyte, Gai assigns Ace to instruct Shuu in training him for the trial. Ace holds onto his pen, unaware that it is a transmitter, using this as motivation. After a day of hard training with members Argo Tsukishima and Igumo, Shuu encounters Inori, realizing that Gai was the one who told her to convince him to join Funeral Parlor. After Inori enters Gai's room, a dejected Shuu bumps into Ace, who consoles and reinvigorates him for his trial. Unknown to them, however, Inori is actually giving Gai a blood transfusion. On the day of trial, Shuu has a mock battle with Ace, where the goal is to get past and into the vehicle placed behind her Endlove Steiner. After going to Argo to extract and use his void in the form of a flashlight that temporarily brings out blinding darkness, Shuu manages to succeed the task and receives his pen back as his reward for passing the trial. Tsugumi gives the members a troubling report that Gai, who earlier led a team to intercept the arrival of mercenaries at an airport and confiscate their supplies, was attacked by the leukocyte, an orbital satellite laser. Although Gai survives the attack, both his team and the mercenaries were killed by the leukocyte blast. At the outskirts of Tsukugis Dam, Gai briefs Funeral Parlor that their next mission is to attack the dam, where the leukocyte control system is located, but Shuu rejects this plan due to the percentage of members who might die. Meanwhile at Tsukugis Dam, Segai informs Kido that his men are prepared for Funeral Parlor's attack. As Gai gets another blood transfusion in a room alone, he feels burdened for the lives sacrificed during the leukocyte incident. After eavesdropping on this, Shuu has a brief exchange with Gai, but eventually agrees with the plan, understanding that Gai knows how much the lives sacrificed are worth to him. During the operation, Funeral Parlor distracts GHQ from guarding the dam, allowing Shuu, Inori, Gai, and Kenji to infiltrate the leukocyte control system. As Shuu hacks the control system using Kenji's void, Segai sends Daryl to get Shuu, but Gai defeats Daryl. However, Daryl damages the control system, causing leukocyte to malfunction and descend into Tokyo. As Segai shows up, Gai makes a deal with him to use the pen, which Gai was aware that it was a transmitter, in order to use Leukocyte 3 to destroy Leukocyte I, in exchange for Segai to delete all of Shu's data in relation to Funeral Parlor. While Gai prepares to line up the transmitter with the two leukocyte satellites, Shu's wish to act upon this leads Inori to fuse her void with that of Kenji, creating a powerful laser weapon, which he uses to destroy both satellites just as their paths intersect. With the operation over, Shuu finally accepts Gai's offer and joins Funeral Parlor. Shuu returns to school, but deals with the rumors that have spread due to his absence. Luckily, the student council president Arisa Kuhuin fabricates a story for his apprehension to stop the rumors, but he has not heard any word about Yuhiro since his capture. After school, Shu's stepmother Haruka Auma returns home and welcomes Inori without much question. Meanwhile, Gai initiates a plan to acquire a new supply route for Funeral Parlor. The following night, Arisa and her grandfather, Akina Kuhuin, the head of a conglomerate called the Kuhuin Group, attend a party on a cruise ship, whilst GHQ Colonel Dan Eagleman briefs Daryl, Segai, and GHQ Intel Officer Rowan in using missiles to attack the ship, following intelligence that Akina plans to make a business deal with an international party outside Japan. As the operation begins, Shuu and Gai sneak on board the ship dressed as guests. When Shuu runs into Arisa, Gai distracts her, while Shuu receives information from Tsugumi regarding Eagleman's plan. To save the ship and its passengers, Gai tricks Arisa into coming to the upper deck, where Shuu extracts her void in the form of a ball that projects a huge disc shield and uses it to defend from the onslaught of missiles. Akina, after witnessing this operation, agrees to have the Kuhuin Group form a partnership with Funeral Parlor for their new supply route when contacting Shibungi, one of the members. Before leaving the ship, Gai tells Arisa that despite her toughened exterior, she is shy to the doting of others. As Shuu and Inori leave for school the next day, Shuu admits that for the first time he is glad for the power he possesses. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Part 2 coming soon.